Now, the last segment of this video ended up being the most important part, okay, that everyone should understand if you are an American. It's that serious, okay? Minute 14 is where that gets to. I just watched the whole video, but if you only have like 4 minutes to watch, go to minute 14 and watch that. And then come back if you want to watch the rest of it. So Joe Rogan is the center of another massive controversy, you guys. Unbelievable. Joe Rogan made a joke on the Joe Rogan podcast, and people are furious. Absolutely furious. And so we're going to take a look at that because I have counted literally like 10 billion. Yes, I counted to 10 billion. People on X who cannot believe the audacity of this man and the joke that he made while hosting Tim Dillon, Mr. Serious, right? Okay. If you don't watch Tim Dillon's podcast, I cannot stress enough, you are missing out. I would suggest that you start with the episode that he did about the Colorado Congresswoman, the really, really hot one, who got kicked out of the movie theater. I cannot believe that her name is escaping me right now. She's like the gun-toting, Trump one with the fake rack. God, what is her name? It's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to think of it in the middle. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? She went to the theater. She had her, she had a rack out. She gave like a dude a handy in the thing. And then when they were like, hey, can you stop vaping in this place? We're talking about like a play theater, by the way. Not a movie theater, a play theater. They were like, hey, can you not vape here? She's all, do you know who I am? You know who I am? Hilarious. Okay. So look up who that was because I can't remember her name. And I'm going to think of it in 2 seconds. And then go watch Tim Dillon cover that. I was crying. I was laughing so hard at that part or at that episode. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Okay. But anyway, so, Joe Rogan was making fun of Douglas Murray, who I liked, before he went on Rogan's podcast and went after Dave Smith in some of them. Like, I don't even know what to even say about his arguments, right? Now, I very intentionally stay out of Israel-Palestine. You want to know why? Because I've been alive for about 1 or 0.00001% of the time that conflict has existed. Okay. I don't know anything. Don't ask me about things that have been going on for thousands of years. I don't know, man. I'm not a smart person, but, I certainly can identify a stupid argument when I see one, and someone was making some very idiotic arguments, and it might be someone named Douglas Murray in some of those cases. All right. Like, I'm sorry, Joe Rogan made fun of your dumb argument. Okay. But we're going to start right now with this right here. If you guys haven't seen this gem, okay, I intentionally talked for 2.5 minutes before I showed you this because it's so outlandish that I don't want to, like if I would have let off right out of the gate, Kanye West admits that he was, that was my imitation of his ex-wife on Ray J, If you guys have ever seen Kim's sex tape, with Ray J. I mean, actually, let me put it like this. If you haven't seen it, like, that's weird, right? I mean, if you're a person who, like, doesn't watch, that type of stuff on the internet, good. Don't start on Kim Kardashian's account. But, if you're a consumer of that type of content and you haven't watched Kim Kardashian Superstar, like, what are you doing? It's not a very good video, except for when she two-hands it like this. And you're like, damn. That girl's got some skills. Now, when you know for sure that her mom put her up to that and intended to put that out as oh my God, our sex tape leaked, and then pretend like they were crying and didn't know it was going to happen, you're going to have the same reaction as me, which is 1, genius. Also, you're a demon, okay? If your goal was to blow up the family and get super famous or whatever, you did it. All you had to do was sell your soul to the devil and have your daughter partake in a sex tape that you were going to release, right? But anyway, so Kanye, listen, this video is going to be all over the place. We're 4 minutes in. I haven't even told you what I'm talking about yet, okay? So Kanye, right, did this with his cousin till he was 14. So he did it to his cousin. Let me just read this to you, okay? This is Kanye West's post from today. This song is called Cousin, about my cousin that's locked in jail for life for killing a pregnant lady a few years after I told him we wouldn't, quote, look at dirty magazines together anymore. What? Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. My name is Ye, and I sucked my cousin's D till I was 14. What? What? So apparently, when they were, when he was like 6, he found some hardcore pornography and showed it to his cousin, and he was like, we should try this out. And they did. So, keep that type of content away from the eyeballs of young, impressionable children, and you will avoid them assaulting each other in what seems to be consensual ways at the time when they're both children, and then one of them is going to murder a pregnant lady or whatever, okay? So, yeah, that happened. He posted that, so I don't really know what to say. Now, moving over to the Joe Rogan story, though. Take a look at this. So, this is Joe Rogan with his human shield, Dave Smith. What? Okay. So Douglas Murray apparently wanted to come on and hammer Joe about what he'd been saying about Israel or something. And so Joe Rogan said, yeah, and I'll have on Dave Smith also so you guys can have that conversation because I don't really pay attention that close to that kind of thing. Okay, this is what I don't understand. Okay, I genuinely do not understand this. Why do people think it's reasonable to hold Joe Rogan responsible for people that he has on his podcast who share opinions, okay? Now, if he had on the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, that's different. It's like, tell me about why you believe what you believe, Grand Wizard of the KKK. You're like, I mean, that's a little irresponsible given, the size of your platform. But if you have one side saying that Israel is justified in their actions in the Gaza Strip after what happened in October, on October 7th or whatever, and then you have another person who's like, it's not justified. They've killed tens of thousands of innocent civilians, women and children, okay? I mean, those are both reasonable positions to take, right? Okay, like at the very least, there's a conversation on both sides. If you would argue that, then we're not having an honest dialogue, okay? Of course it's reasonable for a country to respond after thousands of innocent people were murdered by a terrorist group that runs a territory over there, okay? And then obviously it's completely reasonable if you're on the other side and you're like, okay, yeah, they can respond. I think that there has to be some kind of measure to their response. They have leveled the entire city, all the homes. They've killed women and children and babies, okay? I think you lose the moral high ground of that they killed women and kids over here once you've killed 20 times that many in response. Okay, like those are both reasonable conversations. So Rogan having people on that are representing either side of that conversation, why does Rogan get blamed? It's so dumb. It's just dumb. Anyway, so let's see what people have to say about Rogan here. Okay, so check this out. Okay, what? Oh, there we go. I still can't get over the fact that Joe Rogan, just a regular guy having 3-hour conversations with his pals, demanded that Douglas K. Murray only appear if comic Dave Smith is there as Joe's wingman. What an absolute coward. Now, this right here is the clip that has everybody absolutely up in arms. They are furious. And I mean mad. Okay? And then we'll look at people who are very, very angry about this. So this was, okay, if you didn't see it, actually, I guess I should have started with this, right? Douglas Murray, the argument that Joe Rogan's making fun of is Douglas Murray, who is obviously, well, I don't know if this is obvious either. I don't know why I keep saying obviously. Douglas Murray is on the side of Israel on this, okay? Dave Smith is on the side of peace, okay? People act like he's on the side of Palestine. He's on the side of peace. He wants them to stop killing the Palestinians, okay? Like, if you really get down to their arguments, those are their arguments. He's not defending Hamas. He's saying, stop murdering all these people is his position. I am not taking a position in this conversation. Douglas Murray is like, how many times can they attack us before we're going to respond and, get all these Hamas guys out of there, right? So Douglas Murray said to Dave Smith, "You're not an expert. You shouldn't be talking about this. Have you ever even been to the Gaza Strip? Like, have you ever even been there?" And Dave Smith's like, "No." And so Douglas Murray is saying, like, if you haven't even been to the Gaza Strip, you can't have an opinion on this topic, which, in my opinion, is an idiotic position. Okay. Again, I'm not even talking about like the topic of the whole thing. I'm just saying that argument's dumb. What are you talking about? I can't read about the history of the conflict. I can't watch enough videos of things that like are breaking my heart, breaking my spirit, and then looking at the data of how many times the things in that video have happened to where I feel like I'm justified in sharing my opinion. Like, unless I've physically been on there, it's just a dumb argument, you know? And so that's what Joe Rogan's making fun of right here that everybody's responding to. Let's watch.
Have you been there? Right, that's a good point. You haven't been? By the way, how is he in all these wars? Can I just go to wars? By the way, how are you allowed to just go to wars? Is that the way
you should at least
can you just
have the
go to
courtesy of going there.
Can I just go to wars, or do I have to come back and say what people want me to say about the wars? Can I go to the wars and have my own opinions, or do I have to have the opinions?
Not if you want to go back.
That's right. That's right. It's very interesting, this war tourism. How do I get on this war tourism?
Yeah.
I'd like to go to the Ukraine. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go to.
For the record, unless I'm mistaken, Tim Dillon is Jewish. Dave Smith is Jewish. I am ethnically Jewish, 70%. Ashkenazi Jew, 70%. I know all of you are saying to yourself, no wonder he's so smart. Don't they have the highest IQs per capita in the world? It's true. You know, it's true. That is a thing.
All this war tourism.
Do you have any awards that they can melt down and make bullets out of?
Joe, think about this. Do I seem like a guy that has a lot of awards?
Didn't you get one of those YouTube plaques when you hit 100,000?
I don't even know where they send it. I don't know where they're sending those YouTube plaques.
He is the funniest dude on. He's the funniest dude on the internet. Yeah, I had to cut so I could go find Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert is her name, obviously. I'm embarrassed that it took me that long to remember. Although I actually didn't even remember. I had to go Google it. Okay, so listen to Michael Rappaport. Okay, who he's had an interesting journey. He was another one of these guys that was like, Donald is the worst president ever. He's a bad person. I hate him. I absolutely hate him. Then he saw the left-wing response to the Israel-Gaza conflict, and he was like, oh my God, I'm a Republican. I was on the wrong side forever. Jeez. And then it's like, wait, now there's people on the right who are saying that. I am very politically confused. It's like, it's tough to try to make your decision on which side you're on a single issue. You know, I understand. But let's listen to him because he goes off.
But Joe Rogan, be like, it's an open discussion. You know, we're just floating ideas. We're not married to them being facts or not facts. And they don't have to be experts. We're having a talk. We're just having a talk. I'm smoking a cigar. Sometimes I smoke weed. We're just talking. That's Joe Rogan's series. And it's great for everything except for facts. It's great for everything except for people that are disparaging week after week, podcast after podcast, and not telling the truth and the reality of what has happened October 7th and beyond. So you bring on one scumbag after the next scumbag, and they say, well, I'm not an expert. I'm a comedian. I'm not an expert, but I know this. I'm not an expert on Hitler, but I'm not an expert on Churchill, but I'm not an expert on the conflict in the Middle East. But here's all of my thoughts. I'm a comedian, but we're not going to do any jokes. We're not going to talk.
You mean like exactly what you're doing right now? Like, what the? Like, exactly what you're doing right now. Exactly what you're doing right now. Come on, dude. Come on. Like, let's at least have a little bit of self-awareness, okay? Now, I'm going to go back and finish this, but I wanted to tell you guys one story. And this is very important that I get this story out. So Shoe on Head, if you're not familiar with her channel, she is she's a pretty YouTuber who has been doing content for a very long time. Very smart girl. I don't really understand her approach to the channel though, because she like posts once every like 2 months and we'll get like 1.8 million views. Her videos are just like mine. Or like anybody's where they talk and then they show a clip and then they talk. It's like, and they crush it. But she only posts like once every 2 months. It's like, dude, I mean, maybe she has a full-time job, or something. I don't know. It's weird because she could really crush it if she wanted to. Do you like working? Like working for a corporation or something? Like, this is way more fun. Anyway, but so she did one yesterday on USAID. Okay. Now, one of the things that was exposed in uncovering the USAID stuff is that they funded a thing in Cuba, which was a social media platform that they hooked a bunch of Cubans on, right? Got the Cubans hooked on this social media platform so that they can subsequently start pushing propaganda to them, anti-communist stuff, pro-America stuff, all that stuff, right? Like, so it was that was exactly what they did. That's what the funding went to. It was a CIA slush fund. I hope everybody has figured that out by now, but that was their strategy. Okay. Now, how does this connect to that, you guys? How does that story connect to this? Please don't make me make this connection for you guys. Please. Okay. I will, but don't make me. Okay. I'm going to. Have you ever thought about why it's such a big deal that TikTok is owned by China? You guys thought about that at all? Like, why is it such a big deal that China owns TikTok? So what was USAID doing? They got them hooked on a social media platform so then they could subsequently start pushing all kinds of propaganda down their throat, right? So apparently China is better at this than America because they got all the Americans hooked on TikTok, where you are getting constant barrages of propaganda, which, guess what, guys? They are going to promote separate ideas and sensationalize them. So if you are on the Israel is doing really bad stuff, they are going to throttle, absolutely bombard you with videos of dead kids in Palestine. And anyone who has a heart and was already on that side is going to feel so passionately about that they're going to feel justified doing whatever to get their voice heard on it. Okay. Now, on the other side of that conversation, same thing. They're going to show constant footage of October 7th where people are going to be like, these people feel justified protesting against Israel in this situation. And then what do you have? Okay. You weaken Israel, which is the American, that is a foothold in the Middle East. If people don't understand the strategic importance of our allyship with Israel in the Middle East, okay, like, ask somebody who understands geopolitics. It's incredibly important. China benefits if we weaken Israel. That's not up for debate. Okay? In the global trade and the global dominance war, Israel weak, our alliance weak, good for China. Okay? Now also, let's say, I don't know, you're a black activist and Carmelo Anthony kills this white kid, They are going to bombard you with every single story of a black guy getting surrounded by white people and then the white people killing the black guy. And so then they're like, this is just like that. And then so they rock and roll and they make a huge fuss and they're, and then if you're an Austin Metcalf kid, supporter, they're going to be like, these blacks keep killing all these white people. Don't get manipulated. Look at facts. Make your opinion that way because it's China that is pumping that shit through TikTok, which then gets reshared on all the other platforms. Okay? That is happening. If you don't realize that, okay, 100,000% that is happening.